How in the world did I end up here? Pieces of a hive spread all over. It started out normal enough, just a routine hive inspection, looking over the bees, checking on the brood and their temperament. And then I found her, a beautiful orange queen. And then it was all over. To properly tell this story, I'm gonna have to start at the beginning. I began by opening up a hive, in the way I normally do, just to check to see what was going on inside. I see white wax, as I would expect. I began by smoking the hive and removing one of the middle frames. This frame had bees and brood on it, and I just wanted to see what I had going on here. Beautiful golden brood, that's the babies. Not the bees that are on the top of the frame, but the larvae that are living inside the frame. Here's a close-up. There's a bee with its head inside of a queen cell. What it's doing in there, we're not totally sure. It's hard to see, but it looks like they might be trying to raise another queen. I'll put this frame back. Then I looked over on the lid, and I saw a queen. She's right around the center of the screen right now. And if you notice, she has a lot of bees following her right now. These are her attendants. There she is, a closer look. This is the queen that caused me so much trouble. I went to go get my marking equipment so I could leave a dab of paint on her back for easier identification in the future, and when I came back, she was nowhere to be found. So I began removing frames from the hive to try and find her again. I found this frame with baby bees in it. The brood is the light-colored puffy cells right in the center of the frame. The eggs and larvae are in these open cells that you can see right here. Look for the little pill shapes in the bottom of the cell and you'll know you found an egg. I searched frame after frame looking for this queen, with no luck. I removed the top box and began going through the second. Again, frame by frame by frame, I searched. Now you might be asking yourself, how likely is it that you could find a single queen in a hive full of maybe 50,000 bees? But I will tell you, ordinarily, it's not that difficult of a task. You see, the queen has distinct characteristics, which if you've seen her before, you know what I'm talking about. She's longer, she's a little bit wider, and she moves differently from the other bees, as well as the fact that she's normally contained to a small area. That's the laying chamber of the hive where the baby bees are. Of course, in this situation, that's not helping me find her any quicker. And finally, I found her again. Did you see that? As I was holding the frame in front of the camera, she fell. The worst part was, I didn't know it. The camera caught it. My eyes did not. And when I watched this video, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Again, I reached for my marking equipment and couldn't find her. I was beginning to wonder if I was going crazy. I hadn't seen her go anywhere. It was like she just disappeared, and it wasn't until I watched this video that I understood why. Although I did find out something, which you'll see a little bit later in the video. It started to feel like a cruel joke, searching frame after frame after frame, wondering why this queen was causing such a problem. It's very uncommon for me to have issues with finding a queen. Why would there be an issue? Normally she's on one of the middle frames in the hive, easy to find due to her large size. Why would that be a problem? And yet, I couldn't bring myself to just close up this hive and leave it as it was. Something inside of me needed to find her, so I continued looking. I searched and searched. I put the second back together, one frame at a time. I then removed the second box entirely and began looking in the bottom. There's no baby bees down here, only pollen. You can tell from the bright yellow color that's inside the wax of these frames. It's very common not to find baby bees in the bottom box of a hive when they're making honey, as they tend to utilize the top 2 or 3 boxes most often. However, when a queen is alarmed, she will sometimes go to the farthest reaches of the hive to try and get away, to protect herself, as if she instinctually knows that there's only one of her, and she's very, very valuable to the hive. So I continued looking, knowing that I may find her at any moment. So, the likelihood of a queen getting away from me time after time like this is very low. This is not a normal occurrence, but I'm glad I was filming so you can see I'm not making this up. And here we are, at the beginning of my story. Still wondering, where is she? How did I get here? And then I looked on one of the frames that I pulled out previously. She had been on the ground from where she dropped before, and she climbed up onto one of the frames that I had set there. And now I have her inside of this plastic cylinder. This is how I'm going to mark her. I begin by trying to get her to walk up the walls of this cylinder. This is a common practice, but queens can be notoriously stubborn. I carefully block off all her exits, and she walks inside. Now, I gently press her up against the yellow cage so that her back is easily accessible. I can apply my paint pen, leaving a mark that will last her whole life. Don't worry, this process does not hurt the queen at all. A gentle hand is required to make sure you don't exert too much pressure, which could be damaging to the queen. Her attendants are following her around to make sure it's the same queen for their hive. If she was an invading queen, she would be put to death immediately. I now begin putting the pieces of the hive back together, thankful that I've finally accomplished my task. As I was about to close up this hive, I found the queen on the side of the box. Yet again, it's as if she was trying to get away from me. But here she is, and here she stays. And I captured it on camera just to make sure. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit the like and subscribe button.